My friends, we are living in a time unlike any other in human history. The pieces of prophecy that once seemed distant, symbolic, and almost too mysterious to comprehend are now unfolding before our very eyes. The whispers of warning written long ago are no longer whispers. They are becoming the roar of reality. For generations, people wondered how the world would embrace a system so dark, so deceptive, so controlling that it would demand allegiance to a mark. Today, we no longer have to wonder. The framework is already here. Look around you. Technology has advanced beyond imagination. Systems that can track, monitor, and control are being celebrated as progress, innovation, and safety. People are being conditioned daily to trade freedom for convenience, to exchange discernment for distraction, and to surrender privacy for promises of peace. Yet beneath the shine of innovation lies the shadow of enslavement. What was once speculation is now structure. The mark is not some far-off idea, it has begun. Not in full force, not unveiled in its final form, but as a foundation that is being laid brick by brick, unnoticed by those who are asleep. The frightening reality is that this is not about money, politics, or science alone. This is spiritual. The number 686 is not just a sequence of digits, it is a symbol of allegiance. It represents ownership, loyalty, and surrender, not to the creator of life, but to a system that opposes him. Every time society applauds control over conscience, every time truth is silenced in the name of tolerance, every time dependence on the world outweighs trust in God, the pathway to that mark is being paved. The deception of this age is subtle. No one will line up eagerly for a mark that screams evil. No, it will come cloaked in promises, security, health, unity, progress. It will be sold as the solution to chaos, the answer to fear, the way to preserve what we love. But what appears as light will in truth be darkness, and what is offered as freedom will become chains. Those who cannot discern the times will accept it gladly, not realizing the cost of their compromise. This is why we must awaken. The moment demands urgency. Every headline, every breakthrough, every policy is pointing us toward a climax written long ago. The stage is set, the actors are in position, and the world is being primed to receive what it does not understand. But the warning is clear. To choose the system of man over the sovereignty of God is to embrace a destiny marked with 666. And that choice has eternal consequences. Now is the time to open our eyes. Now is the moment to strengthen our faith. The mark has already begun, not in its final stroke, but in its hidden form, creeping silently into the hearts, minds, and daily lives of those too distracted to notice. The question that remains is this: when the choice is forced, when the hidden is revealed, when the mask is lifted, where will you stand? The first reality we must face is that the system of control is already here, and its influence is far deeper than most people realize. For generations, the thought of a world where every person could be monitored, tracked, and regulated seemed like the stuff of imagination, something reserved for distant prophecy or the pages of science fiction. Yet today, it is no longer a theory but a reality unfolding before our eyes. The tools for such control are not hidden in some distant future. They exist now, woven into the very fabric of our daily lives. From the smartphone in our hands to the biometric systems at airports, from digital currencies being promoted by governments to the global web of surveillance cameras watching every move, the framework of complete control has already been constructed. These systems are sold to us as progress, as innovation, as a leap forward into a brighter tomorrow. But behind their gleaming promise lies the shadow of bondage. Consider the cashless society that is being championed across the globe. At first glance, it appears practical, even efficient. No more risk of theft, no more hassle of carrying bills or coins, transactions made quick and easy with a tap or a scan. But beneath that convenience lies something far more sinister: the total ability to monitor, restrict, and ultimately control what people buy, sell, and own. Once physical money disappears, every transaction is traceable, and with a click, access can be cut off. Freedom, then, is no longer in your hands, but in the hands of a system that demands compliance. This is not a distant danger. Nations are already laying the groundwork for digital IDs tied to finances, healthcare, and even travel, meaning that your entire existence could one day be dependent on your willingness to conform. But it does not stop there. artificial intelligence, surveillance technologies, and global DA. Databases are now capable of gathering details about individuals that go far beyond what anyone would willingly share. The system can already predict behaviors, identify dissenters, and enforce regulations with frightening accuracy. And while many applaud these advancements as evidence of human brilliance, they are in truth preparing the stage for control that is total, inescapable, and merciless. This is the reality of our time. The prophecy is no longer a warning written in distant ink. It is unfolding before our eyes. The hidden foundation of the mark is being laid, not with open threats, but with shining promises of progress. What people call freedom is quietly becoming the very chain that will one day bind them. The second point we must grasp is that deception will not arrive clothed in obvious evil, but disguised as good. The pathway to the mark will not be paved with threats and violence in its earliest stages. It will be introduced with promises of safety, security, and progress. Humanity is not being forced into this system by sheer terror. Rather, it is being enticed, seduced, and convinced that compliance is the better way. History shows us that when people are afraid, they cling to anything that offers stability. When nations tremble under chaos, the loudest voice that promises peace is the voice that people will follow, regardless of the hidden cost. This is the subtle brilliance of the coming deception. It will not present itself as an attack on freedom, but as the very answer to fear. We can already see this pattern unfolding in our world today. When disease strikes, technology is offered as the key to protection. When economies falter, digital systems are presented as the solution. When unrest fills the streets, new regulations are passed in the name of order. Each of these measures seems harmless, even wise, but when combined, they weave a net of control so tight that it is nearly impossible to escape. People cheer for the very chains that bind them, believing that they are being kept safe, when in reality their freedom is being stripped away one choice at a time. This is the greatest danger, that what looks like light is actually darkness. The mark will not be advertised as a mark of rebellion against God. It will come wrapped in words like unity, protection, and progress. It will appear as the solution to all the world's problems, a way to heal division, prevent crime, and secure a future where humanity thrives. And because people are desperate for answers, they will not question the true cost. They will welcome it, not realizing that what they have embraced. It is a covenant of enslavement. The deception works because it appeals to the deepest fears of humanity. Who does not want safety? Who does not desire health, stability, and peace? But the price of these promises is far higher than most can imagine. It is the surrender of choice, the handing over of conscience, the slow erosion of trust in God, replaced by total reliance on man's system. This is how the hidden mark grows, not through terror, but through seduction, until those who accept it believe they have gained everything, when in truth they have lost it all. The third point is that allegiance is at the very heart of the mark, and this is what makes it so dangerous. Many people imagine it as simply a physical mark on the body, a symbol imprinted on the hand or forehead, but the reality goes much deeper. The mark is not only about identification, it is about ownership. It is about declaring who has authority over your life, who you serve, and to whom your loyalty belongs. This is why the choice surrounding the mark carries eternal weight. It is not merely about survival in a crumbling world. It is about the throne of the heart. To accept the mark is to transfer allegiance from the Creator to a system that stands in defiance of Him. That is why prophecy speaks of it with such finality. Once accepted, it is not just an external label, it is an internal declaration of loyalty. This is where the test of faith becomes sharper than ever before. Imagine a world where your ability to work, to buy food, to care for your family is tied directly to a choice of allegiance. On the surface, it may seem like a practical decision. I have no choice. I must do this to survive. But the reality is far greater than the physical struggle. In that moment, the question will not be about whether you can eat or trade. It will be about whom you trust to sustain you. This is why the decision cannot be taken lightly. What feels like a simple compromise will in fact be a covenant of ownership, and once that allegiance is given, there is no turning back. The hidden preparation for this has already begun. People are being conditioned to think that compliance in small matters is harmless. They are taught to believe that bending a little for convenience or security is no big deal. But every small compromise is a rehearsal for the larger test to come. The heart is being trained to surrender step by step until when the ultimate demand for allegiance arrives. As it feels natural to accept it, this is the great deception, that people will not even realize what they are giving away until it is too late. The number 666 is more than digits. It is a banner of loyalty. It marks who is truly in control of your life. And in that final moment, the world will be divided, not by wealth, not by power, not by status, but by allegiance. Those who choose the system of man will bear its mark. Those who choose the sovereignty of God will bear his name. That choice will be the defining line between freedom and eternal bondage. The fourth point is that society is already being conditioned to accept the mark. And this conditioning is perhaps one of the most subtle yet powerful elements of the entire plan. Humanity does not wake up one morning and suddenly surrender freedom. It happens slowly, step by step, through a series of small compromises that gradually reshape the way people think and behave. What once would have been seen as intrusive or even outrageous is now welcomed as normal. Every new regulation, every technological upgrade, every requirement for compliance is preparing the world for a future where control is total and unquestioned. People are being trained without even realizing it to obey, to adapt, and to conform. We have witnessed in recent times how quickly entire populations can be persuaded to follow new rules in the name of safety and order. Restrictions that were once unthinkable are now enforced with ease, and resistance is often minimal. Why? Because fear is a powerful motivator and convenience is an effective bribe. When fear drives people to cling to anything that offers stability, they stop asking questions. And when convenience makes life easier, they stop noticing how much of their freedom they are surrendering. This is not accidental. It is deliberate preparation for something much greater. Technology plays a central role in this conditioning. Surveillance systems, biometric scans, digital IDs, and artificial intelligence are all being integrated seamlessly into daily life. Each advancement is marketed as progress, a step toward efficiency, safety, or unity. But together, these advancements create a system where privacy is nearly extinct and dependence on technology is absolute. Once people are fully dependent on such systems, they will have little choice but to comply when those systems are tied directly to economic survival and social participation. In this society is being trained to embrace the very structure that will one day enforce the mark. Even more concerning is the shift in mindset. People are being taught that resistance to such systems is irresponsible, even dangerous. Those who question or stand apart are often ridiculed, silenced, or shamed. The masses are conditioned to see compliance as virtue and resistance as rebellion. This social pressure further prepares humanity for the moment when the ultimate choice arrives: accept the mark or face exclusion. By then, the conditioning will have been so effective that many will not even hesitate. This is how the hidden stages of preparation unfold. Not through open coercion at first, but through subtle training, one step at a time. By the time the mark is fully revealed, society will already have been molded to accept it willingly. The fifth point is that discernment will be the only true defense in the days ahead. Knowledge alone will not be enough, for information can be twisted, and even the most intelligent minds can be deceived when lies are cloaked in truth. Strength of willpower will not be enough either, for the pressures of survival, fear, and social rejection will break even the strongest human resolve. The only way to withstand the deception of the mark is to have eyes opened by truth and hearts anchored in faith. Without discernment, many will walk blindly into a system they believe is saving them, only to discover that it has enslaved them. Discernment is more than knowing facts. It is the ability to see beyond the surface, to recognize what is really at work beneath the mask of appearances. The mark will not be offered as evil. It will be celebrated as progress, as the next step in human evolution, as the solution to the world's greatest crises. Without discernment, many will accept it gladly, thinking they are choosing life when in reality they are choosing death. This is why discernment is not optional, it is vital. It is the dividing line between deception and truth, between bondage and freedom. Already we see how easy it is for people to be misled when discernment is absent. False narratives dominate media, half-truths are sold as facts, and people follow whatever voice speaks the loudest. Few stop to question, few pause to test, few take the time to seek wisdom beyond what is presented on the surface. This is the preparation for what is coming. If people cannot discern truth now in small matters, how will they discern it when the greatest deception of all time is unleashed? True discernment comes from a heart that is aligned with God and His Word. It requires humility, vigilance, and a willingness to reject the easy path of compromise. It requires courage to stand apart from the crowd, to refuse what everyone else celebrates, and to remain faithful even when it costs comfort, reputation, or even life itself. Only those who have cultivated this kind of spiritual sight will be able to recognize the hidden trap when it is revealed. The days ahead will test every soul. Deception will be so convincing that without discernment, even the strongest will stumble. That is why now is the time to awaken, to sharpen spiritual vision, and to prepare the heart. The hidden mark is already creeping into daily life, but only those with discernment will see it for what it truly is.